Alright, welcome to F-Body Garage, where today we're going to be installing the ever so popular Chris1313 fuel system. I'm really excited about this. In all the research that I've done, it looks like Chris uses all the best parts, the top name brands. The hoses and fittings are from Improved Racing. The fuel pressure regulator is Aeromotive. The E85 sensor bracket is from Motion Raceworks. It has the hot wire kit, the stuff that most people end up installing anyway. Obviously, part of what we're going to do is show the different steps to install this stuff. We are also going to go over some of the things that you may or may not need with the system depending on your situation. Whenever you have a plug and play system, most of the time in the aftermarket racing parts industry, you're going to find that a lot of people have different setups, there's different variations. When they make a kit for something, a lot of times they make it for something specific, and then you find out you have a different wiring harness because you have a Racetronics hot wire kit, or you have fuel cell instead of, fuel pump, whatever it is. We're going to go over some of that stuff too, so that you're prepared when you buy this. I'm going to need to get this stuff too, so that you can just do it all at once instead of buying it like me and then figuring it out later. So one of the issues that you may run into depending on your system is, as you can see, there's a vent outlet for a vent hose, and you do need to have a vent in this system. The system comes with a plug for it. However, if you're using the stock system, if you have a 98 to 02 Trans Am, the fuel tank has a ventilation system that's built into it. So what we're gonna do is get a fuel quick connect barb to put in there so that we can just connect the stock ventilation system to it. That'll eliminate that issue. Then we have hoses for both of these. You may also run into the issue of the harness that you're going to connect the pump to has the connectors for the harness, and then you have this connector for this, and then you have this. So there are different styles of connectors for different years of the Trans Am, and then, like I said, if you have any aftermarket wiring like the Racetronics, it's going to change that connector as well. If you have this style, before buying it, I would just, look at the fuel pump, look at the connector, and see which connector you have. If you have the square one, great, plug right in, you're good to go. If not, you are going to need to buy a wiring harness adapter for it. Racetronics sells, there's a Bosch part number out there I'll put in this, that's on Amazon, and there's some other ones online, obviously. Also, one thing that I will mention is this is made to hook up to your alternator, and I've seen people install the system and see that it's not long enough to reach the alternator in some cases. The whole point of the hot wire kit is to get power from the alternator, not from the battery, because in some situations at high RPMs, if you're going wide open throttle for a while, the voltage can actually drop. And there's always a little bit of a difference. If you check power your alternator and check power at the battery, there's always a little bit of difference. And when you're in a high RPM situation and there's a lot of load, that changes as well. So you want as much voltage as possible when you're at wide open throttle. The last thing that you ever want to do, obviously, is go lean on a pump when you are, at AFRs for boost or nitrous or, whatever. Like, this is the worst possible situation to go lean. So protect yourself. Connect this to the alternator. It is extra security. Alright, I'm assuming the first step is to drop the tank. I'm going to try to avoid dropping the whole tank.
Alright, we all know how much this next part sucks. Hopefully I don't have to drop the fuel tank down all the way. I'm gonna see if I can do it, drop it down enough that I can access the wires and the hoses and pull them out and back through. If not, that is what it is, Gotta take the exhaust off, drop the rear end down. Yeah! Started with the fun. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if you noticed or nothing, but nothing moved. Nothing moved. So there's some room. I need to lower this more though because I am short. Yeah, whatever. All right, is that high enough? Yeah, all right, I can access those. So let's pop these out. Okay. All right, these are all loose. All right, I haven't looked at one of these tanks out of the car in a while, but I remember there being like a bracket or something. Yeah, there you are. Okay. What would be cool is if the system that he sent came with this piece right here that screws into the middle of the hat that this could just pop into. Okay, one of the things that we talked about was the connector. So as you can see, this has been wired in. It used to have the square connector, so I do need the harness adapter to connect to this. And what else? So you can see that there is this is the quick connect for the vent. This is a 5/16. I'm going to just order a 5/16 barb to go into the new system because it's going to drop in and go in the same place. One of the other things I'm going to put in here is a picture of the top of the fuel tank. For those of you that have an access port or an access hole cut in and you don't want to drop the tank down all the way, I can show you how to do it without having to drop the tank down all the way. It's a lot easier if you have a picture so you can see how everything routes when you're pushing hose through and pulling hoses off. So I'll stick that in here for you to look at too. So if you look at the picture of the top of the fuel tank, you can see that the way the hoses route, the way the wire route, and when this tank is up in place, there's a wall right here. So I'm just going to use that wall to push the hose into and down. And then as far as the wiring, it'll be easier to pull the wire up because there's only a small portion of this that's actually going to be, you know, on top. So I'm just going to run a wire down there to grab. That way I have something to yank up. Okay, as you can see, the wire is right here. So I'm just going to connect the wiring harness to this and then pull that up. So I'm just going to grab a tie strap here. Just to make sure I don't lose this. All right. Pull this wire through. Hopefully it doesn't get stuck anywhere that I have to. Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we'll just hang you over to the side over here out of the way because you're not ready to go on to anything yet. So you have all the connectors. Yes. Okay. All right. So we're good there. All right. So same idea. We're going to run this back through where the old wires and hoses were and route them over to the side in the back. Feed is going to be on that side. So let's do it like this. Make sure I don't hit the wires as I'm going back there. All right, let's see. Oh, perfect. Fell exactly where I wanted it to. In the area where you can see it's coming down the corner right here. Oh. Okay, now I got to figure out where I want to put. I guess I'll just run the fuel filter the same way that it was stock. I mean, that kind of makes. Just because you do have this little pocket right here, you know, so you can run this up here and then make a 90. And the reality is that I am probably going to keep the line that would be the purge line, that extra plastic quick connect goes to, that goes up to the front. And we will just use that to strap the new hoses too along the way, because otherwise, you know, we're gonna have to put straps and self-tapping screws and stuff through the bottom and shave them all. I'm not doing all that if I don't have to. All right, so let's lay this out like we're gonna do this. Oh, man. Well, that sucks. Yeah. Yeah, these are wrong.
Okay. Yeah, these are wrong. Lovely. All right. So in my mind, the way that I would run this, the way I have run it before, is this. This runs to the filter. The filter then runs to the regulator. This is the return that goes back. Then this is going to run out to this, and then this is going to run out to this, which then runs to the fuel rails. Then the return line back here is going to run that all the way back to this, straight. Yeah, might as well set these up like it's gonna look. Okay, you're going like that. I'm assuming that what happened was, I see this all the time from companies that have these hand fittings and they have this stuff in bulk. A lot of times they have it at a warehouse, somebody picks it, and you know, when you buy a bunch of various different pieces, sometimes some of the pieces are wrong, you know, it happened. Because the way that it looks is, I mean, literally everything, like we have everything that we need to make it happen like this, where it goes from the pump into the filter, up the firewall, into the E85 sensor, into the regulator, and then into the Y that then goes, drops a size, and then goes into the rail, which makes sense. However, to make that complete, see, we've used all of the large and fittings as well, so that would make sense. So the only thing that we are missing is these. These two should be the larger size, and they're not. Okay, so, wow, this looks like a cluster. Alright, so I ended up having to get, in addition to the kit, 3 10 and 90s, and then 2 8 into 10s. Just to be clear, you don't have to buy the additional 3 90s. I just did that because I was already buying other fittings and thought of another way I could run it that's around my catch can, so. Careful not to go too far. Yeah, let me pull this stuff through first. I don't know, maybe. Okay. Alright, so next thing we gotta do is pop the pump out, put this pump in. I need to take that out, take the sender off, put it on this, then put that in there. So let's do that real quick. Whoop! Come on! Get out of there! Alright. Okay. Well? Oh well. So he said what he does, make sure I have all that right, is put this like this. Okay, and then that goes in there like this, and then you just pull it tight. Alright. Now, gotta go find the tool. Okay, so let's connect these. Okay. And let's do this. Let's connect this back on. Okay, and then we need to use a heat gun, heat this up. Okay. Alright, so we're ready to go back in. We're ready to go back in. Awesome. To put the ring on it, we gotta take these off. Alright, so this is gonna go over it. Like that. Alright, let's try putting this in here first. Like that. Oh, there we go. Wow, okay. Alright, he said aim it at 10 o'clock.
So new 9, so right there. I just won't hammer it down all the way yet. Tomorrow I'll have the quick connect for the vent and we can pop that on. These right now will connect here to these. This one connects to this guy, that, and then this will connect to this once I get the quick connect for that. That's everything that we can do up here right now, so let's go ahead and pick this thing up. We're working from underneath. All right, so now we got to get this grounded out, and we got to put the relays up there. Everything's run now, so I can go ahead and tighten the fuel tank back up. Let me see what it is that I'm working on here. Now we need a ground. I want to sand it down and know that it's a good ground and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Tight, tight, tight. Everything's tight. All right, let's get you on there. Get on there. Boom. Okay. All right, check this out real quick so I can see if we can use this in any shape or form here. I'm probably gonna end up here. Maybe if I bend the lip of this flush. Okay. All right, you're gonna sit here, which means you have to sit here, basically like that. And yeah, we can do something like that. I want you roughly here, because that's gonna have to go there. Let's put you like here. Push this through here and then lower the car down so I can pull it all the way through and then see what that looks like. This is going to end up being cut, so let's pull this through here, and then this one, the return, is going to end up coming around here because that's going to go underneath. So let's put you here. Oh my god. This is gonna be, oh, this is gonna be close. Oh, yeah, all right. Okay, so what I did, I was able to snake it through underneath the clutch master cylinder. So it was really close. You can see where the return line is really close, but I want to pull that one down. That's where the feed line was before. So it was, this just gives it a little bit more room. And like I said, the further away, the better. All right, that's fine for now. You're gonna go there. You're gonna go up there. I know if I heat shield over there. Okay, so that's fine. So now the next thing is gonna be running the wires to the alternator. You're gonna go up here along that, and that's gonna connect to that. Okay, so now I need a million tie straps again. Zip ties, zip ties. Yeah, go that far. Okay, holy crap. Wow. Okay, so now you are gonna go up here. You're on the alternator. Let's see. I want the Y, do this kind of deal here. So we'll have you like that. I'm doing here. Really need a 90 right there. Okay, so we got the fuel line all run. So we got it running from this side down into this Y, and then back up to the regulator, and then into the E85 sensor, and then runs back down to the filter, and then from the filter up to the fuel pump. All right, let's put the fuel pressure gauge on this. Oh, probably hope I had the fuel pressure gauge. Come on, just get started. All right, we can heat wrap the fuel hoses. This stuff is adhesive backed, which is pretty cool. I say that, but it's gonna be a nightmare to put on because it's adhesive backed. So what's the best way to do this? You're far away from here, you're up here. So let's put you on like way up here. Just gotta pull you away. All right, so I just found this stuff on Amazon. It's just a heat wrap that is adhesive back, so it just makes it easier to apply. All right, so the next thing we've got to do is install this adapter harness for the flex fuel sensor. What this does is connect the flex fuel sensor to the Terminator X power tap, and this is an alternate wire. So they make a couple different versions of this. You can get it with or without the alternator wire. If you're putting the Terminator X in, there's a couple different ways that you can wire the alternator. This just gives you another option. This one is from Gotham Motor Works, and they were really quick. The owner emailed me back a few times, you know, back and forth. He seems like a really good guy. So the quality of it is really nice, and he does put labels on here. It tells you exactly, you know, what to connect to what. So that's pretty cool. And then it also comes with a 10 ohm diode, which you do have to put in. We'll be going over that, and I'll show you how to install it. But anyway, yeah, let's get this thing going. All right, so basically the way this works is that, like I said, this connects to the flex fuel sensor right there, like that. And it comes with a 5-foot wiring harness, so there's plenty of room to run it all the way back around to the power tap. This goes to the alternator. We're just gonna drop back down here. Where did you go, little wire? Oh, there you are. Okay, I'll bring this thing down. All right, let's connect it to the power tap and just see. How much room we're actually gonna have here. All right, so if you're there, yeah, this one's gonna have to run up instead of down. All right, so I want you to come here, like that. I could honestly run that to the throttle cable instead of behind the intake because you can't see it anyway. Wow. So from everything that I have researched, the loose wire goes to one of the inputs from the input-output power tap. It needs to be connected to one of the 5-volt reference signal wires, which I believe are the first 4. Number 1 is the white with blue stripe. That's what we're going to connect it to. All right, you're going to go here. All right, and then I actually want this to be a little bit longer because we're going to end up soldering in it. Yeah, I believe we're soldering from the white and blue to the blue. Anyway, so the first step is that. So let's get that out of the way. All right, the next step is we're gonna run a resistor, this guy, between the blue and white wire and the top wire coming from the sensor, which is the signal wire, which is blue, this guy. So we're gonna open that up. So I need to peel that back and solder one to the other. Yeah, sure. Let's see what this does. Oh, wow. This thing is, oh crap. I'm gonna knock it down. Okay, let's see here. Flip. How'd we do? That looks, I think I probably used way too much, but whatever. All right, voila, it's perfect. Let's get some heat shielding. It'd be fine. Okay. Let's do this one first, because this one's going to be the one that's a pain in the ass. Actually, here, let's do this first. Okay. Let's get that cut. Okay. Oh, all right, so that's in place. The resistor's in place. All right, so the next thing we have to do is install this vent that we talked about in the hat. This is the part number of the one that I got. Strangely enough, there were not a whole lot of 1/8 MPT into 5/16 for some reason, but all right, let's make sure this is the right one. It's gonna fit. Yes, it's gonna fit. All right, so now let's wrap it. Oh, don't fall off. Oh my God, of course you will. It's the damn fan. It's Florida though, it's like 90 degrees outside. It's a necessary evil, unfortunately. That should be good enough. Come on. Come on. Okay, so we know those are all tight now. Thank God. All right. Yeah, okay. Now we got to connect these. Holy crap. All right. Now we have our main connector adapter. Okay, everything's connected. All right, that's all installed. All right, we're officially done installing the Chris1313 fuel system. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to get the notifications of new videos coming up. Thanks for staying to the end if you did. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comment section. In the next video, we will be starting this thing up, and pending getting a dyno date, hopefully, we'll be at the dyno.